Hello, well, what a great morning it is, the day after the Brexit vote, and thank goodness the British people have, despite all the scare tactics and all the rest of it, voted to free themselves from the fascists who are ensconced in Brussels. Now, terrible campaign, outrageous stuff going about, and of course with the tragic death of Joe Cox. But I mean, when you look at headlines like this, I mean, look, saying a Brexit gunman killed that poor woman. Absolutely despicable. But, there was a few despicable things on both sides. So it was not a very clean campaign. But what was surprising, that the working class and the middle class have really divided in this country again. And I don't think that's very healthy. It's not good at all, actually. The working class voted out and the middle class voted to stay in. And, well, now we have a result. But it's very interesting. I was been abroad lately, but I've came back this week to make sure my democratic rights were upheld and to vote in the Brexit, and it's obvious how I voted. But I've been personally working very, very hard to make sure that we try to counter the lies, the nonsense, the propaganda that was just being spewed out. And to be honest, the people who were running the Brexit campaign, they weren't particularly good either, so I was very worried about that. So I sort of jumped in the arena a wee bit and put my puny weight behind it a wee bit, and thankfully it's worked. But I really want to speak about something that a lot of folk will think, oh, what's he going on about? But I'll tell you what I'm going on about. People are fascinated why the British always talk about the weather, and I'll tell you why. The weather has saved this country on more than one occasion. And I go back to August 1588, when the Spanish Armada, Duke of Parma, coming to Britain, ready to invade, ships crammed full of the Inquisition to murder and slaughter us all, and they would have. And there was very little we could do about it. We had an army, ragtag army, with the Queen Elizabeth down at Tilbury. But really, if the Spanish had got on our shores, they would have destroyed our country. But what happened at the last minute, in a lovely summer's day, a mighty wind, a tempest blew up and scattered their ships all round the British Isles. They were wrecked in Scotland and Ireland and all the rest of it. Fantastic. An act of God, and the church bells rang out across the country. Well, I want to tell people today that Brexit vote was won because mainly the London vote didn't turn out. Now, London is 60% ethnic. That's a fact. And there's 8 million people in London, so they would have easily carried the vote. But what happened yesterday? A lovely day all over Britain, apart from a big massive storm cloud above London. So we had this horrible storm cloud with wind and rain, and we know the ethnics don't like the wind and the rain. We're used to it, the Brits. We don't mind it. So old ladies went out there and braved it through the wind and the rain to go and get their vote, to exercise their democratic mandate, and they voted. The other ones, the newcomers, they didn't. They stayed in the house, and therefore the British people's will was done, and we're now free from the Brussels bureaucrats. So that's an amazing thing, and I do believe it's divine intervention. I really, really believe that. I spent several days in church every day, sometimes twice a day, praying for this, because I could not see any way possible that we were going to win this vote. Couldn't imagine it, couldn't see it, despite all the work, and I've been at this game a long time, but there's no way I could see us winning that vote, and we did win it, and we won it by 4 points. So it's fantastic, but I'd like personally to give the glory to God, and I think this nation is lacking that. If we get back to God, we'll be a lot better off. But I just want to finish up, not by depressing you, but by saying this. So many people have said to me today, especially English people, oh, that's fine, we're out of Europe, everyone's fine. Look, in the next 60 years, we're going to lose 80% of the indigenous population through demographics. There is far more people dying than being born. British people, indigenous British people. That's a fact. It's not arguable. It's not my opinion. Even the left-wing people understand this. 80% of indigenous British people will disappear in the next 60 years. That's a fact. The Muslim population will explode 500 or 600% over that same period. So, fast forward 20, 30 years, the British indigenous people will probably be down to something like 25 million. The Muslim population will be up to about 25 million. They will all be young. We will all be old. So the game's still a bogey. The ball is on the slates. We're still doomed. It's not going to fix the demographics. And here's the other thing that's worrying. Nigel Farage said now we can stop people coming in from Europe, but we'll bring folk in from the Commonwealth. Really? We're going to stop Hungarians coming into Britain, skilled Hungarians, skilled Polish people, our Northern European brothers, blood brothers, but we're going to let people in from Bangladesh and everywhere else. That's what we're up against. So Be careful. Yes, rejoice, be happy, celebrate. Don't let me be an old stick in the mud. But remember where we are. Leaving Europe will not fix our demographic collapse. It will not fix the Islamic explosion in numbers. It will not fix our corrupt politicians. And if anything, it may in the long term make matters worse. But for now, celebrate. And remember, say a prayer tonight, because I truly believe that God granted us this victory. Thank you very much.